Good morning and welcome to WHIO Reports. I'm Jim Otte. It's hard to believe, but the summer's almost over. That means kids will soon be heading back to the classroom. This morning on the show, we're going to help parents get ready for the new school year. Plus, we'll focus on a great program here to help parents, students, and schools gather the supplies they need for the new year. It's called Crayons to Classrooms. They run a free store for teachers at participating schools, providing supplies to teachers and their students. Here's a preview. Let's take a look.
Steve Rubenstein, Executive Director, Crayons to Classrooms. Organization started really about 4 years ago. 3 organizations came together, the Mateo Family Foundation, the Dayton Foundation, Kids in Need Foundation, to talk about how we could bring a teacher free store concept to the city of Dayton.
David Clapper, I'm the board chair for Crayons to Classrooms. This has been a fabulous afternoon. This is exactly what we set forward to do.
My name is Karen Robinson Jeter, and I am the 8th grade teacher at Gardendale Academy. It helps me as a teacher because I spend lots of money on supplies myself to help my kids to get through the projects that they have to do. And right now, we're in the midst of science fair. And when I leave here, I'm going to Mendelssohn to get a couple things for my kids to finish up their science project. So this is a great thing so that I don't have to spend so much money out of my pocket.
There's over 23,000 students in the greater Dayton region that can't afford basic school supplies, pencils, crayons, notebooks. Dayton Foundation has been very pleased to help support and initiate the formation of Crayons to Classrooms. Through Crayons to Classrooms, we're able to support teachers and their students and provide the opportunities for success.
And our guests of the program are working hard to make those school supplies available to kids and teachers here in the Miami Valley. They are Bonnie Smith, the member of the board at Crayons to Classrooms. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Also, the group's executive director, Steve Rubenstein, and Marilyn Croker, the principal at Patterson Kennedy School here in Dayton. Thanks to everybody for being here on the program. Let's start with you, Bonnie, about how you got involved with this program.
Well, you know, initially I was invited to take part in the study to determine if a store like this would work in Dayton, and it was my pleasure to do that because as a former teacher and principal, I know some of the challenges that teachers have in school. So at their invitation, I sat at the table and we met over the course of probably a year. And at the end of that study, it was determined that this would be an awesome program for the Dayton community. And so it was initiated. And then a few months later, I got another call. Would you be interested in serving on the board? And I could not refuse.
It's hard when Steve calls, it's hard to say no.
Yes, it is hard to say no.
Now, Steve, how long have you been associated with this then, Steve?
For about 2 years physically, actually working on the project. But prior to that, I was with an organization that advocates for this cause on a national basis, and I was with the Kids in Need Foundation for about 7 years.
Okay, and very good. Now, as a supporter here, now everybody's been through that situation. Now, as a principal, you know how great the need is. How did you get involved with this?
Well, Steve was one of our partners with that national organization, and so it's been 3 years of our relationship, but last year we were afforded the opportunity to participate in the Crayons to Classroom opening.
It's pretty incredible when you think about that you started from scratch.
Oh, yes.
Literally. Steve, how did you pull this off? And talk for a little bit. We saw a little bit in the video about what the goal of the program is. But talk about your service area, for example. How many schools are involved now and how you have grown just in the last year and a half?
Well, as we said a few minutes ago, there was a study that was put together that looked at this market. And within the market, we defined it as a 5-county area, Montgomery, Warren, Preble, Dark, and Green. And within that area, there are 85 schools, about 1,400 teachers, and 23,000 students that would qualify for our service. When I use the word qualify, what I mean is kids that are participating in the National School Lunch Program. And the higher the percentage in a particular building, the greater the need. And that's our target market. And so this past spring, we developed a pilot program, and we invited 8 schools to participate, the highest of the highest, if you will, in terms of that participation. Marilyn School was one of those. And Then at the end of that, we brought them together and had a focus group and talked about what happened and discussed all of the positives. And now going forward into the fall, the back-to-school season, we're going to be ramping up to 21 schools.
That's a big step. So Marilyn, what was the experience first time around?
Well, first of all, we were approached about a needs assessment to see what teachers really needed. And they shared their classroom wishes, and then we were invited to come out, administrators first, and I can just tell you it was just unbelievable, the resources that were available, but also the environment was just so stimulating and so professional. And then we set up a schedule for our teachers to come in, and of course Patterson-Kennedy is a very large school, and so we had to do it on a 2-day visit, and it was just like Christmas in July for them. And the responses was just how appreciative, but basically they felt like they were being affirmed all the time with just having this opportunity to come in and shop and just select what they needed for their classroom.
And Bonnie, how does this work? I'm a classroom teacher. I work in one of your partner schools. I set the schedule, and then what? Come to your store?
We invite the staff to come to the store, and when they enter the store, they sign in. And they're given a sheet of all the items that are available in the store. And there are limits, as you might well understand, of how much they can take. But because being a teacher, I'm telling you, from prior experience, you know, it is like Christmas. You want to take everything off the shelf, but you can't. And so we set limits. Teachers get a shopping cart. They're able to go up and down the aisles. They're able to look at everything that's presented, and whatever it is that they desire, they take it off the shelf and they put it in their cart.
Okay, when I was there, I saw pens and paper and pads and all kinds of items.
Just about everything. And not everything might be directly related to physical use in the classroom, because as you might know, teachers have great imaginations, and so they come up with all of these creative ideas about what they want to do with their children. Some of them may need buttons. Those are great tools for mathematics. Some may need paper simply for covering a table and letting a kindergarten student just have at it. And so those kinds of things are available, and these are things that teachers may have to actually purchase out of pocket. And so that's the real important message that I would like to get across, is that if you're a new teacher, your resources are not as great as someone who has been in the profession for a long time. And so this affords a new teacher the opportunity to have resources to work with their children.
Marilyn, how great is the need, especially whether you're a new teacher or you've been around for a while, especially in your district? How great is the need to get this kind of help?
Well, as she said, for new teachers in particularly, I think we did a study before. Teachers' average of purchasing items out of their own funds averages around $500, and so that's a big, that's a big bite out of their personal budgets. And so it is a support to them of purchasing items that would not necessarily fit into things that they would purchase for their boards. And so it gives them opportunities to get supplies directly to the children of what they know that they will need in that classroom activity.
I could just see the teacher coming into your store and their eyes light up and say, this is for free. You have to remind people this comes at no cost or obligation to them. And why has this never been done before? I have about 30 seconds. Steve, this is brand new, correct?
Brand new in this market, but the mission work has been around for about 13 years nationally. One of the oldest programs is in Cincinnati. So we had a lot of best practices from which to model from.
Very good. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about helping parents get their kids ready on the other side of this equation and get that so that when the teachers go to the classroom, the kids are all ready for this process. People have interest in this. They can go to our website at WHIOTV.com and find out more about Crayons to Classrooms. You're watching WHI Reports here on News Center 7, sending kids, getting them ready to go back to school. Our discussion continues in just a moment.